Morning Year 6 and welcome to Friday's lesson. I hope you're enjoying this book so far. Today we will need to read up to chapter 19. So if you haven't read up to chapter 19, pause the video now and go and read along with our YouTube videos. Once you've done that, unpause when you come back for the rest of the lesson. Okay, so now you've read up to chapter 19, let's answer some questions before we get to our solo task. Who is the person telling the story? Pause the video, answer the question, and then come back for the answer. So let's have a look at the answer. It's in this chapter called The Truth Hurts. It's told in first person, and it says here at the bottom, I am Sam, Sam is me, I'm the one who made Davy's life a misery. So he is the person telling the story. The answer is Sam. What does fizzy feet mean? Now I think this fizzy feet is chapter 2. So pause the video, go and find what fizzy feet means and then come back for the answer. Okay, let's look at the answer. So here we say we've got Davy saying fizzy feet, I've got fizzy feet. And then Mr. Mackey comes in and says, what are you talking about? Mr. Mackey began to frown. Do you mean you've got pins and needles? So the answer to this is fizzy feet means pins and needles. I just don't think Davy knew how to say it. But it says here, look, ow, yes, that's what I said, sir. He was just describing the feeling because pins and needles feels like your feet are a bit fizzy, doesn't it, really? Bit of an uncomfortable feeling. Okay, next question. Davy is a good friend. True or false? Explain your answer using evidence from the text. So for this one, we're going to have to do a bit more deeper thinking. It's not just a retrieval question. We need to pee on it. We need to give a point, so we need to answer it, and then we have to explain it with evidence from the text. For an example, I'm going to use these two examples here because I don't think Davy was a good friend. So my answer would look something like this. I don't think Davy is a good friend because he doesn't tell anybody they are friends. I know this. Oh, it's gone off the page. Let's shorten it a bit. Sorry about that, Year 6. I know this because it says in the text in front of my friends he was still fizzy feet. And he also says, why would I hang around with him? So I've picked out my evidence, which is here. I've got two pieces of evidence. I've answered the question. Not I don't think. I've answered the question by saying I don't think he's a good friend. And then I explained it because he doesn't tell anybody they are friends. And then I've gone on to evidence it. I've made my point, I've explained, and I've shown evidence. That's what I'd like you to do for this question, guys. Pause the video, answer the question, and then come back for the next one. So this one. In chapter 12, what did Sam's mum think of how he had treated Davy? How do you know? So this is another question where we're going to have to give a bit of evidence. So I could say something like, I think Sam's mum thought Sam treated Davy unkindly or unfairly, or she was disappointed in him. I know this because Mum's advice is go and say you're sorry. And she says it was mean. So you must say you're sorry. That's my evidence. So I've made my point. I think she treated him she was disappointed because she tells him to say sorry, and then I can give my evidence. She says it was mean. So that means she doesn't like it. She doesn't agree with it. Pause the video, you give your answer, and then come back for the rest of the lesson. Okay, I wonder what you put for that one. Let's move on to the next question. This is a quick retrieval one. You should be able to get this straight from the chapter. And we don't have to give evidence for this question. What did Sam and Davy swap out of their break boxes, and why didn't Davy want the peanuts? So, first of all, in the text, Sam and Davy, he wanted to swap the peanuts for the cucumber. But then Davy said, I can't eat peanuts, I'm allergic. So that answers the second part of the question. What did they eventually swap? Pause the video, go and find the answer, and then come back for the answer. Okay, so what did they actually swap out of their break boxes? The answer is they swapped a cucumber for chocolate buttons. This one is all about chapter 14 and why it's called Big Mistake. So to answer this question, we need to think what's led up to this. And the point that led up to this was the bit where from the last question, where they swapped snacks out of their break boxes. Let's have a look at the chapter. This is an extract from the chapter. And if we look here, sneezer, said Alex, just as thoughtfully, big mistake. And I thought, oh no, I know that look, big mistake. He's just had an idea. He's going to do something to Davy. Big mistake. Telling him about Davy's allergy was a big mistake. After looking at that, I would like you to pause the video, answer the question, and then come back so we can discuss. Okay, so you should have answered that question by now. Why is chapter 14 called Big Mistake? Well, the reason it's called Big Mistake is because Sam tells his friend Alex all about Davy's allergy. And as soon as Sam said it, Alex has an idea. And Davy knows that he's going to do something. So that is why it is called Big Mistake. Big mistake for telling Alex about the allergy, and that is going to lead to Alex doing something. So we're looking at words in this question, vocabulary and effect of the repetition of the words too hot in chapter 15. My world was too hot, the country was too hot, the city was too hot, the street was too hot, the school was too hot, the classroom was too hot, my clothes were too hot, my skin was too hot, my blood was too hot. Watching Alex whisper and laugh with Pete was making my insides too hot. So if we look at this, at the beginning it's my world. And we get smaller, the country, the street, the school, we get smaller until we're right inside Sam. And the effect, in fact, I'm not going to tell you yet. I want you to have a go at answering the question. Pause the video and then come back and join us. So the reason that the author uses too hot, too hot, too hot and keeps repeating it is to actually show how hot Sam was. And I think they do mean hot, but I think the author also means that he was panicking. He knows something bad is going to happen and he doesn't know how to fix it. He doesn't know how to solve this problem. So the effect of the repetition of the words too hot is to show how panicked Sam was about what was going to happen. So this is your solo task for today, year 6. You've got to imagine you are Sam. Now you've read up to chapter 19, you know what's happened. I want you to imagine you are Sam and you want to write a letter to Dave and his mum explaining how sorry you are. For this question, I want you to empathise. I want you to think about why Sam didn't do anything to start with. Why didn't he tell Davy? Why did he tell Alex in the first place? Think about that. Why did he tell Alex in the first? I'll write this on here because I want you to include them. I want you to include feelings. I want you to really empathise and put yourself in Sam's shoes. Why did he tell Alex? Why didn't he warn Davy? How is Sam, you feeling about what has happened? I want you to think about those 3 things and write a letter. Remember, you are writing to your friend and his mum, so you want it not too formal, but his mum is going to be reading the letter. So this is your solo task, and I can't wait to read these letters when I get your learning packs next week. Have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye.